Hi, and welcome to my channel. Welcome back. Thank you for subscribing, liking, and commenting on my videos. If you are new to my channel, go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. So today I'm going to be doing this video. I wasn't going to do the video at first. I was kind of going to wait just a little while longer before I did it, but it's just been nagging me to do this video. So I wanted you guys to kind of get to know how me and how I ended up being the woman that I am, and how I ended up here in Las Vegas instead of California. This will be a talk video basically about domestic violence and getting away from getting out of the relationship and getting away from the person that is abusing you. And it could be a lot of forms of abuse. It can be physical, mental, emotional. It can be a number of things. And I am writing a book, you guys. It's like four parts to my book, so I'm not going to give too much away, but I am going to touch on a couple things that I went through in my life and things that led me here to where I am right now. Let's get down to the video. So I started out in California, you guys. I stayed out there all my life. I have 4 children. I am married now. The person that I'm referring to in this video is not my husband. This is my ex. And I just want to touch bases just a little bit. I don't know who this video is for. I don't know why it's nagging me to do the video so soon, but I'm just going to go ahead and do the video anyway. So I met someone and I was with him 14 years. You guys excuse the squeaky chair. I met someone and I was with him 14 years. I've had 3 of my children with this person. This person was somebody I was in love with. He wasn't my first love, but I was still very young when I met him. So as you can imagine, you can be very impressionable and naive and gullible and all those stupid things that you go through when you're young. So we met. Everything was okay at first. I did see a couple red flags throughout the beginning of our relationship, but again, I'm young and naive. I don't really know what's going on. I will tell you one thing that I learned from this, that I took from this. Pay attention to the signs. The signs are there. I mean, just because you love somebody doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be in a relationship with them. They are not your responsibility. It is not your job to fix them. I'm a very caring person, and sometimes I think, it's on me to help this person. It's on me to help this person. If somebody is hurting you in any way, shape, or form, then they don't love you. And it took me a long time to understand that. But when you're with someone that abuses you, they're conditioning you. You don't even realize that they're conditioning you. So when someone is putting you down and they're saying negative things like, oh, I did this because of this reason, or look at your hair, or look at this and look at that, or, they're conditioning you over time. And over time, those words will get more harsh. It starts out with, oh, you've gained a little weight, or, oh, I don't like that outfit. It starts out with a little shove or a little grab too hard. And then next thing you know, they're going upside your head. Everything has signs leading up to something. And you have to pay attention to that. And if you are in a relationship with someone who is abusing you now, then you need to leave them alone. Him or her. It goes both ways. It's not just a one-way thing. There are women that are out there that are abusing men. It goes both ways. But my story is about a man. So one thing that stuck out in my mind specifically, and I do deal with post-traumatic stress just from being in that relationship for so long and going through everything that I went through. And I do take ownership in my part in that because I stayed. And when I didn't stay, I took him back over and over and over and over again. So this one particular incident, there are certain things that stick in my mind. I was about 21 And I had already had my son from a previous relationship. I was a teen mom. I had a child at 17. And I was pregnant with my I was pregnant with my second child. So I have 4 kids, you guys said that already. So I was at my apartment. Me and my ex had not really split, but he had moved out. We got into it, and he moved back in with his mom. This time we're in California. And I was making burgers in the kitchen. And he brought his friend over. Both of them was there, and they asked me if I could make them a burger. So I said, okay. So I'm in the kitchen, I'm making the burgers. The meat is still raw, it's frying in a pan. And he got agitated with me. I don't even know why, really. All I know is he was standing behind me, and he said, "You're being nicer to him than you are to me." And I'm like, "I don't even know what you're talking about. I asked you guys both, what you want on your burger, blah, 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 blah." And he flipped out. So I asked him if he could leave. And he was like, "No, you're going to finish making my food." So I was like, "No, I'm not. You're going to leave." And then he takes the cooking raw beef in the pan, and he grabs me by my hair and he shoves the raw meat into my mouth. And then he grabs my shirt, he rips my shirt off in front of his company. And he's on top of me, shoving raw hamburger meat into my mouth. And I'm crying. And now my breasts are exposed, and he's upset that his friend is seeing my exposed breasts. It's things like that that sticks out in my mind when it comes to abuse and when it comes to PTSD. And I will give you another example. And this was during the end of my relationship. I was still in California. We had split up. Not only was he abusive, he was a liar, he was a cheater, he was a thief, he became a drug addict. It was just a whole bunch of issues. It was just too many issues. Now, by this time, I have 4 kids. I have 3 boys and a girl. My daughter, I think she was like 4. She was 4 years old. And then my boys, my oldest was a teen, my other one was a preteen, and the other one was right under that one. Thank God they weren't home. My daughter was, but she was asleep in the room. So we broke up. He cheated. He would not leave. He would not leave me alone. He came into my house one day. I had a really nice house, came into the house. He was okay at first, and then he started talking about something that didn't even make any sense to me because he was on drugs at this time. So I just kind of ignored him, brushed him away, and I had my phone in my hand. And he was like, "Who are you texting on the phone?" And I was like, "Why does it matter? We're not together." So he reaches for my phone, and I pull my hand back. So then he still can't get the phone out of my hand. He's like, he has my hand. He's trying to get the phone out of my hand. We're tussling over the phone. So then somehow he ended up by my walk-in closet, where I fell down onto the floor in my walk-in closet. He grabs one hand with one of his hands, had both of my hands, pinned down on the floor, and he's trying to take my tights off so that he can rape me. And during this process, I'm thinking like, oh, he's trying to rape me. So I was like wiggling, trying to get one of my hands loose. So I got one of my hands loose, and I was just hitting him with my free hand. And he's still trying to get my tights down. So I guess I hit him hard enough, he let me go, and I freaking ran out of the house. But you would think that even after that would have been enough to even leave all my stuff where it was at and just move. And to be honest, the only reason why I didn't, because I have 4 kids and we literally had nowhere to go. So I had to figure out where I was going to go. Now, the last thing that really pushed me to move as quickly as I did, I was sleeping one day, and I don't even know how he got in the house. He used to break in the house. He broke in the house, I'm sleeping, and it was dark, but I kept like one of my lights on in my bathroom. because I know he breaks in the house and he tries to do things to me. So I kept under the lights on. At this point, I was a very light sleeper. So I opened my eyes because I heard like footsteps and he was standing over me. And I said, "What are you doing in here?" And he says, "If I could kill you and get away with it." And he just stood over me, just staring at me. And I was just like, wow. Like, I have kids with this person. I've been with this person over 14 years. And he just told me if I could kill you and get away with it. And his reasoning behind acting like that was because I wouldn't take him back for the 150th time. When you've had enough, when you've really had enough of someone hurting you, abusing you, lying to you, cheating on you, stealing from you, doing everything they could to try to break you, when you finally had enough, there is no getting back together. There is no second chances. There is no excuses. There is nothing. It's over. And that's where I was at that point. It was over. My kids had suffered enough. I had suffered enough. It's not that I didn't love him. Once I love you, I'll always love you. But I had no desire to be with him ever again. I had no desire to be with him ever again. And the things that I told you guys isn't even the worst of it. So I'm saying that to say this. There are certain things that happens in your life as warning signs. There are people that stay in relationships way longer than they should, and some of which are dead because they stayed, or disfigured, or badly injured. You know, I've had broken bones. I've been through all of that stuff. And it's not fun and it lowers your self esteem. It leaves scars. The physical abuse, and I used to say this, I'd rather you hit me, physically hit me, than to destroy my self esteem and mentally abuse me. Because mental scars, they don't heal. And if they do, they take a long time to heal. Physical scars heal. And it's sad that I had to put it that way, but that's exactly how I felt. So if you're in that type of relationship, the best thing to do is just to walk away. It's not gonna go nowhere. You can break up with this person a million times. I broke up with him a million times. He stalked me. I mean, it got so bad. It got so bad. And I remember this one time, I was sick during the pregnancy with my daughter. I could have passed away. She could have passed away. I was very sick. And she was a couple weeks old. Me and my ex was not together. My three boys, two of which were home. The other one was at his grandmother's house. And I remember him coming over. My daughter was a newborn and I was still sick. I couldn't really stand or anything. And he got so angry at me. And he would get angry over the weirdest crap. So he came over. He wanted to see the baby, supposedly. He really didn't want to see the baby. But he wanted to see the baby. And we got into a verbal altercation over him popping up and talking crazy and doing crazy stuff like he usually does. And he got really angry. He jumped in the car and I had hit the door was open and he grabbed the kids, put my two boys in the car. So I went outside to try and stop him from taking my kids. And I remember the door was open and he just backed out and me and the baby just fell down. But I had her, like I hurt my arm, but me and the baby just fell down and he left. And about 45 minutes later, my mom passed away, but she was alive at this time. My mom saw my two boys running down the street trying to get to her house because they were scared. My mom lived like 20-minute walk from my house and they were really young. They were running across the street in the middle of traffic. I didn't know where he took them. I had called the police. And it was just so crazy. So my mom drives him back over to my house. And right after she pulls up, the police pulls up. And I told them what he did. He pulls up too. Why the police is there? The police did nothing. They did nothing. It was almost, I mean, it was almost like a punishment. Like, oh, you called us, but there's no real proof. Ha ha ha. Like, oh, I get away with it. And I could see the look on his face. He was just like, oh, you thought I was going to get in trouble for doing that. Ha ha ha. You lose. It was a game. It's always been a game. There's certain things in life that happens, to you that makes you strong, that makes you grow as a person, that makes you grow as a woman. There are certain things, lessons. There's always a lesson in everything. I believe that there's always a lesson in everything. Even in the worst situation, there's always a lesson in it. So never look at something like I wasted my time or this happened or that happened. Everything is preparing you for something else. I don't know what it is, only God knows. And I'm a very spiritual person. I pray all the time. I go to church. And I really believe he had a demon in him. I do. I remember this one time I was praying and I was sad. I just had my daughter and he was like talking to women in my face and just doing all kind of stuff. And I needed his help. I was sick. I couldn't do anything. And he was on the phone literally in my face with some chick. And he was telling me to be quiet because she can hear me. That's not even the worst of it. And people used to look at me like, why are you dealing with that? What is going on? Da, 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 da. You could never get in the mind of a person that has been abused for that long. You will never understand. You will never understand. So I was praying out loud and I was crying. I wasn't like making noise crying, but my eyes were filled with so much tears. It was just tears falling. I was just holding my dog. I was just holding her. And he said, I don't know why you're praying. God don't hear you. And I just kept praying. I kept praying anyway. And I remember this one time I was reading this book called The Bait of Satan, and my husband, who's my husband now but was my boyfriend at the time, had told me to read the book. So I read the book, and it seemed like every time I read that book, he would break in. He'd come in. And he came in and he saw me reading the book and he snatched the book out of my hand and he threw it down the stairs. And the whole book didn't break, but the back of the book came off. And I said, why did you do that? He's like, why are you always reading that book? If that's not the devil, I don't know what is. If that's not the devil, I don't know what is. I believe in stuff like that. I believe that certain people do not have good spirits. I pray for him every day, even after everything that he's done to me. I still pray for him. I pray for his well-being. I would never want anything bad to happen to my kid's father. I pray that he is okay. I pray that he changes. I really do every single day for him because I want him to be a better person. Doesn't mean that that's going to happen. And another thing I wanted to touch bases on, you guys, if you grow up around that type of stuff, you have to break that curse. I grew up around it. My mom was abused. My other sister was abused. That's right under me. It's a lot of things that we have to stop in our families. And sometimes it just starts with you. Sometimes it just starts with you putting your foot down and saying, enough is enough. I'm not going to deal with this anymore. And that's it. And set an example. Set an example for what you want your family to do. And that's not an excuse because I made a conscious decision. And I knew that when I saw my mom going through that's not what I wanted. But that's the type of man that I attracted. And it's not technically because I'm cursed. I used to think that. It's not because I'm cursed. It is a generational curse that can be broken. But it's still a choice. It's still a choice. Pay attention. The way somebody treats you is how they feel about you. It's not what they say with their mouth. They could say anything. You can go punch somebody in the face and then say, I love you, and doesn't mean that you love them. A drug addict can go sit in front of you and smoke a crack pipe and say, I'm not a drug addict. Doesn't make it true. Actions is what you go by. If a person is hurting you and they're lying to you consistently, whatever they do consistently, that's how they feel about you. That's how they feel. There's no way around it. If you're unhappy, leave. Don't waste any of your life. Yeah, I still look young. I don't look like what I've been through. I've been through a lot of stuff in my life, not just with that relationship. But I'm not going to give too much away because I am, in the process of doing it. So you guys, I'm not gonna make this video too long, but I did want to touch bases on that. And I'm thinking about doing just every Friday, just doing a kind of talk video, chit chat video, and giving some advice, and also giving some uplifting advice. If you guys are out there and you don't pray, prayer works. Prayer works. There's nothing in this world that you can do too bad for God to want to help you. Prayer works. Even after everything I've been through, even when I'm at my weakest, even when I'm doubting, I always go back to prayer. I always go back to God. I always pray because He is your only protection. He is the only person that can really bless you, that can take you and protect you. I don't even know how I'm sane. He protected my mind from so many things that should have taken me out of here. And I am still here. And you're still here, which means you still have a chance. You guys get a relationship, pray, read your Bible, go to church. And you can go to hell through the church, but that's a whole nother subject. But God will lead you. He will give you advice and He will protect you. He is your only protection. Don't let anybody tell you anything different. He is the reason why I'm still sane, why I'm still holding on to my sanity. He's the reason why at 35, I don't look 35. He's the reason. I don't look like what I've been through. So you guys, if you want me to do these videos on Friday, go ahead and leave it in my comment box. And if you like the video, like, comment, and subscribe. If you want me to talk about some other subjects, also leave that down in the comment section. I'll make sure I check it and respond to you guys. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. It's been fun, you guys, and I will see you on my next video. Bye. I just wanna tell